Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my tips from round 6 and what was an absolute horrific round for me. I got 3 out of 8, which was still top 12%, but everyone had a horrific round as a lot of upsets occurred, and I think a lot of us forget to look at the fixture and see that some teams have horrific runs. We saw, I think Collingwood, they may have lost off of their 3 and sort of their 3 games, I think, in forward in a couple of weeks, 12 days, and the same can be said about St Kilda. So I just had a quick check of all the fixtures just to make sure that I was not going to run into something like that, and I don't think I see anything with regards to fixtures being a problem in terms of rest for this week. But anyway, going through, and before we do, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this recap and tips. So first of all, St Kilda versus Western Bulldogs. I tipped St Kilda by 17 and they lost by 60. So I was 77 points off, and that just ruined my margin basically, and I think a lot of people had this. I should have probably tipped the Western Bulldogs resurgence because that usually happens. They have a shocking week in the media and then they play well next week. Adelaide versus Essendon. If the holding the ball on Draper had actually gone, there would have been a chance for Adelaide to kick after the siren, but Essendon deserved to win this game. Essendon kicked, I think, 10 goals, 18, so they could have easily kicked 100 points there. And Adelaide, I think, kicked 11 goals, 9, so they weren't as inaccurate. So I think that Essendon deserved to get the win in that game, and they're 4-2, and they're slightly surprising me. But I don't think, I think that they've faced some teams that are on the downward trend. So I think that Essendon could quite easily face a better sides, and they will get beaten up as their 2 losses this year have come to Sydney and also to Port Adelaide. So I think even teams like Melbourne and Collingwood at this moment now will tear up the likes of Essendon. Collingwood against Port. I went Port at the MCG and it looked really good until about half the way through the second, I would say. And then all hell break loose, and I think Collingwood went on a run of about 100 points to 30 or so to finish out the game. So they went on a really good run. Collingwood, I think they kicked something like 9 straight goals or something. And it basically became a 50-20 to roughly something like 80-50 scoreline, just like that. And so Port just got smashed. Outside of that first quarter and a bit when they had Butters run loose, Rosie didn't do anything. I don't think I looked at it. I had Adelaide by 8 points in that Adelaide-Essendon game, and Essendon won by 3. And then in the Collingwood-Port game, I had Port by 14, and they ended up losing by 42, so I was 56 points off there. Then we had Carlton versus GWS, and a pretty good tip here. I said Carlton by 13, and Carlton ended up winning by 19. I think they kicked a couple late as well to solidify that. And so that was just a really fun game to watch. Then you had Brisbane, Geelong in the wet at the Gabba. And Brisbane, 0-3 at the Gabba. Yes, they've lost to to Carlton, Collingwood and Geelong. But 0-3 at the Gabba, which was supposed to be a fortress. Other teams are creating fortresses at their home ground. Sydney is 3-0, I believe. Geelong is 3-0 at their home ground. Carlton actually lost at their home ground. GWS are a fortress at their home ground, so they're doing really well. So yeah, it's just a weird one to see that Brisbane, the team that had the fortress at their home ground, is falling apart a little bit. West Coast versus Freo. I had Fremantle, and I'm gonna be frank, I didn't think West Coast would turn it around this well, and they look like a side that honestly could finish 14th or 15th, which is really good for the competition, because we have been saying for a while that West Coast were really poor, and I mean, you still have North Melbourne who are extremely poor, but at least West Coast seem to have rediscovered Elliot Yeo and Harley Reid's just making a massive impact in the forward and the midfield, as well as just they're doing this without Oscar Allen. If they get Oscar Allen back, I could honestly see them somehow scraping together 6 or 7 wins. With the way that they're going, with the momentum that they're travelling. They may hit a roadblock this week against Gold Coast, because Gold Coast are coming off a bad loss to Sydney and have only really beaten Hawthorn and Hawthorn in the last month. So aside from their like round 1 game against, I think it was round 1, was it? Let me just check here. Their round 2 game against Adelaide, they really haven't. Well, that was actually round 1, I believe. I believe they count that as round 1. Yeah, I believe they do because this website doesn't do round 0. It starts round 0 as round 1. So that was a round 1 game against Adelaide, and they scraped home in that. And outside of that, they've looked really poor yet again. It seems like the circle of Gold Coast is back. But yeah, West Coast, they look really good. They smacked out Fremantle from the word go. I think they got up to almost, was it like a 45-3 start or something like that, which pretty much killed the game off. And Fremantle just looked shocking. I had Freo by 30, and they ended up losing by 37. So yeah, pretty bad from Freo. And I also had Brisbane by 12, and they ended up losing by 26. So not the best tipping. And then we get to the Sunday, and I restored some faith in my tipping, I guess, with Sydney by 18. They ended up winning by 53. Gold Coast is sort of a bogey side for this one. So to get, especially at the SCG, so to get the win there was pretty happy, and the performance I was pretty happy about. Brady Grundy really good in this 200th, and really showed why he can be an asset in fantasy. But what a trade we did to get him overvalued. A trade where I think the trade valued him roughly around pick 22, 23 for him was pretty good, and that was built up basically from a Weddle swap a couple drafts ago, I believe, or something, that the pick sort of kept on getting swapped around and around and around up to this point where we got him at a very, very basement price, and we don't have to pay as much because Collingwood is still playing his contract. So really happy about that. And then Hawthorn against North Melbourne. I went Hawthorn by 18, and North Melbourne just look horrific. They look horrific on the transition, and it's just a factor of them not drafting a key defender, to be honest. It's as simple as that. They just don't have key defenders to be able to withstand a lot of the tools that get played. So I had Hawthorn by 18, and they ended up winning by, 45 points. So now we go on to round 7, and we have the 9 games again. So no more buys for the next, 5 weeks, so next almost month. And first up, you have the Wednesday game on between Melbourne and Richmond. I think Melbourne, just off their bye, are going to look a lot better. I think Clary getting an extra week of rest will do him well. I'm pretty sure he's playing. And Gawn, he's been a monster this year. So I'm going to predict Melbourne by, I think, 27 points. I do think Richmond are really going to struggle without their main sort of midfield. They've got, is it something like 11 guys on the injury list? Like, they're relying on Dow, McAuliffe, Prestia's still out, Tim Taranto's out. Then they're relying also on Baker and Bolton in the centre. So it really does start to get a little bit iffy for them. So we'll see team lists come out for that in another sort of hour, I believe. This is recorded on the Tuesday night, just showing you the how jam-packed the videos are. Then we get to the Thursday night, and I just think Collingwood are going to smoke Essendon here. I think Collingwood are looking out, and I know that Essendon did win against Adelaide, but I think Collingwood are just turning that corner. The cogs are starting to turn. It's an Anzac Day. It's a big clash here, and a 3:20 start on the Thursday. I'm just looking forward to seeing. I think Dacos will have a pretty good game. I'm hoping it doesn't have a sort of a massive 40-odd disposal effort, because that would suck for some reasons. But yeah, I just feel like Collingwood have the quality over Essendon, and I think Essendon, they're really relying on their midfield of Caldwell, Durham. We'll see how, and also you've got the returning pieces of Setterfield and Parrish. So I don't know, Parrish has been back, but Setterfield and Shield, and we'll see how if they get selected, we'll see how they go. But that could massively impact stuff, and I just don't know if it's going to necessarily throw everything out of whack that had potentially happened. You also got, I think, Perkins returning soon as well. So you've got quality returning, but I don't know whether them returning will almost be a negative effect, even though they're better quality than the guys that they currently have, which is a weird one to say. But yeah, I'm just a little bit worried that Essendon may fall back into what it's done previously. and that midfield mix previous wasn't as good as their midfield mix now that has a lot more running ability, breaking, line breaking ability that I keep on mentioning throughout a lot of sides. They need that line breaking ability, and I think Durham and Caldwell and even Perkins getting a little bit of time in the midfield. Whereas staying away from the likes of a Parish is probably better for, and keeping them on the outside is probably almost better for the Essendon side. But I'm going to go for Collingwood by 20. I'm going to go Collingwood by 32 points here. I think they're going to really, really hand it to them on a big day. GWS against Brisbane. GWS look really good. Brisbane look really poor. Sam Taylor back as well should help GWS back. I'm pretty sure he's going to be back, but maybe not because of the earliness of this game and the concussion protocols. I need to double check that. I think I can just double check. Let me just check here. GWS fixtures. Here we go. And let's check when was their game. Oh no, he's absolutely fine. Their game was on Saturday the 13th and it is Thursday the 25th. So yeah, he is fine to play, which is a good thing for those out there. Sam Taylor should be back, and I haven't looked at the GWS injury list, so if he is back, then that's sort of a problem. Let me actually just search up GWS here and just see if I can find the injury list for them. Here we go. Anzac, nope, not that. Don't think will return, plus the latest on Sam Taylor. Okay, here we go. Isaac Cummings returned via the VFL. Concussion, Sam Taylor doesn't look like he's gotten up, which he will miss. Sorry, he'll miss, or they were confirmed last week he'd miss. Okay, well, so yeah, if you already put a comment in the post in the comments about Sam Taylor, then nope, I figured that out. So that I still think GWS will win, but probably lowers the margin, I reckon. Brisbane have to fire back here. They got to fire back soon because they are falling behind. They're now 2-4, and if they do lose another couple, they could fall to 2-6 very quickly, and then you start having to continually win just to get back in the hunt. So I think that GWS will win this one, and I'm going to go GWS by 11 points in a pretty good game here. You also have the likes of Oscar McInerney missing. Even though he'll be replaced by a Darcy Fort, it does lower the quality there. Port versus St Kilda. Friday night, 26th of April. When did St Kilda play last? They would have played for Thursday night, so this would be an 8-day break for them. Port's coming off a 6-day break. St Kilda need to fire. Port need to fire as well. It's being played at Adelaide Oval. Part of me wanted to go St Kilda just because they'd fire back, but it's Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide need to get a win back here because they lost a little bit of credibility in the last little bit, losing to Melbourne, and also only beating Freo and Essendon. Well, they smacked Essendon, beating Freo by under a kick, and then losing to Collingwood pretty convincingly. So I think they need to fire back. So I'm going to go for Port Adelaide and I think Rosie will not have 2 bad games in a row. So I'm going to go Port Adelaide by 10 points. No. Sorry, not 10. I'm going to go 26 points. Then we have Saturday the 27th. We've got North Melbourne versus Adelaide. I think Adelaide wins this one against North. North just look absolutely pathetic, and I think Tex Walker put in for, I think 5, given that Biggie is their defender that they'll have on him, and I'm not looking forward to that. So I think you can put Tex for 5. I think Adelaide wins this by 45 points. Then you got Geelong versus Carlton, and this one's a very, very evenly matched game. I could see both sides winning this. So I think this one will be a 10-point margin. Geelong is still undefeated. Carlton would be undefeated if Adelaide didn't kick straight in that game. That was a wonder game by Adelaide. But I'm actually going to go against the grain here and just go Carlton by 13 points. And that's just because I think that Harry Mackay and Curnow are starting to turn that corner of being really, really good with each other, and I think that they can easily kick 6 or 7 on the and Geelong also don't have Tom Stewart as well. So I think that the key defensive stocks of probably the likes of a Connor O'Sullivan against a Harry Mackay, or a Connor O'Sullivan against the likes of a Charlie Curnow are going to be pretty bleak for Geelong. Then you got Freo versus Western Bulldogs. Freo have looked utterly pathetic against the likes of West Coast. Western Bulldogs came back strong, and I think Western Bulldogs will ride this momentum. I think they're still getting a little bit of beating in the media by them saying they need to continue on with their momentum for them to be a legitimate threat. I think that's Bontempelli. You got Libba returning, Treloar there. Hugo Hagen should be returning as well for Lob. I think that their side is starting to hopefully get that re-energization that they should be getting, as well as just the kick up the butt that they probably needed to get going, because this is almost now or never for the Bulldogs, with their Treloar getting on in age, Libba getting on in age, the potential for English to leave, even though it looks like he's probably not going to leave. Bontempelli's getting on, I think Bont's 28. Liam Jones only has a couple of years left in him. They only really have a couple of years before they really got to move on, and it looks like a lot of their sort of younger stocks in Buslinger and Bazza Smith and potentially English, but it doesn't look like, potentially even Jack McRae, even though Jack McRae's older, a lot of their sort of depth pieces or players that aren't really playing a role at the moment but could play a role are potentially leaving. So I think it is Western Bulldogs that are going to step it up, and I think that they're going to win by 21 points out west. Then we head to Sunday, and you got Gold Coast against the Eagles. 16% on the Eagles. The Weagles. They won last week. What a win against Freo in the Derby. The club just looked absolutely united after that, which is a testament given they were absolutely horrendous. How their fans keep on turning out for them is really, I think, shows the levels of the club that they are. Gold Coast in a rut at the moment. Are they going to pull it out against the Eagles? Are the Eagles going to ride the momentum? If it was at Optus Stadium, I'd probably be tipping the Eagles, but it's at Gold Coast. It's at Heritage Bank. Gold Coast need to respond after a horrific run. Man, I think I'm probably gonna be disappointed, but I'm gonna go the West Coast Eagles here. Something tells me they might lose, but I'm on the West Coast Eagles train this week, and I'm gonna go West Coast by 13 points. Upset Dimmer. I don't something inside of me just says that they're gonna win. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Even though West Coast got thumped by 70 points last time these two played. And then you have Hawthorn versus Sydney. I'm gonna go with my Swans. Hawthorn do have Will Day returning. Swans have Luke Parker returning. So it'll be interesting to see who drops for the Swans. Could be James Jordan. I think it may be just a Braden Campbell that drops, as I think Sam Wicks really showed he was needed in the side. But yeah, I think the Swans win this one by 34 points. I think Hawthorn looked better against the North Melbourne, but that was North Melbourne. So how much do you take out of that? Being Hawthorn being good, or how much do you take out of that being the North being absolutely horrific? So that is my tips for the week, and I guess I will see you guys in the other videos, being the AFL Fantasy team reveal and the Supercoach team reveal. So I'll see you guys in those videos. Bye guys.